Hello and welcome back to Feminine Success Secrets. I'm Candice Oneida. I have a very special treat for you all today. Somebody who is a person I have recently met and who I'd love to share with you all. Her name is Eliana Gilad. Hello, Eliana.
Hi there.
Hello. Let me just read a little bit about her before we dive on in and talk to Eliana today. So Eliana Gilad is a TEDx presenter, motivational speaker, teacher, composer, and performer, and founder of Voices of Eden, Ancient Wisdom and Healing Music Institute. Professionally, she has dedicated her life to reviving the conscious use of voice and rhythm as natural healing instruments as they were used in ancient matriarchal times. So relevant to us women here now. This wordless healing sound modality helps people find their authentic voices and connect to their inner calm and wisdom. So Eliana is here today with us to discuss the use of the feminine voice, as well as to discuss a little bit about her book called Miriam's Secret, revealing the ancient wisdom of feminine leadership. Whoa. Can just feel the gravitas behind this woman. Wow. So I'm just excited to get to know you a bit better myself, to be honest, as we are newly introduced to each other. And wow, where should we start there, Eliana? So I know you've got all sorts of very exciting things coming up, but would you be able to start by talking a little bit about the nature of feminine voice and how it is so important to us as women today?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and it's such an important subject because all we have to do is turn on the radio or the internet or the television to see examples of what's not working, and the old paradigms are breaking down and the old structures. So the way that we have all learned to be in the world, to operate, to connect, to speak, to operate, to do, to be in the world is really no longer relevant. And that's a wonderful place to be, and it's a scary place to be if you need to be in control. And feminine power enables us to, there's a place for things breaking down. I interviewed a midwife who, over the span of her 35-year career, she's assisted at, maybe 1,500 to 2,000 births, both in a clinical setting and in a hospital setting. She said, and there's a point when the woman is going through contractions and she gets to a point of like no return, and she goes crazy and she doesn't know whether she's going to make it through. She hits the wall and she's terrified of dying or losing it. She goes, at that point, I, as midwife, know that the birth is going to be fine, the baby is coming, and that all is well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Now, I use the birthing metaphors a lot, especially when I'm talking about projects and business. That is such a powerful edge. You really pointed to an edge. And by the way, as a woman that works with voice, that's often when the woman's voice is just having to cut through that to help her get through that edge, right?
Yeah, well, actually, that's what she said after. Where the danger is the women who won't lose it. They need to be so in control that there will be no expression of voice. Even if there's no expression of voice, that she just won't lose it. She's got to be in control, and that's where the danger of C-sections and preemies and deaths and, all of the danger is in that very moment. And I think that that's so poignant. I work with successful women, very powerful women, and I don't mean they don't need to be in roles, that are in the front line, in the headlines in the news. When I'm saying powerful women, successful women, they're the ones who have been pioneers, who everybody comes to for help, who look success, from all the outside, they look successful. But on the inside, they have a lot of self-doubt. And where we are today, those women, because they're pioneers, really are ready to move forward. Yet how we have moved forward in the past was by being a pioneer, kind of a lone ranger, you know, in the old paradigm. And that is dinosaur. It doesn't work anymore.
Which is what I call the man mode or the masculine paradigms. We were taught to channel our experience of success and power through what we were all taught to nobody's blame, not even to men or the masculine patriarchy's blame. That's all we knew about how to express ourselves successfully. And yet women are dying on the inside doing that.
Yeah. I just maybe 2 hours ago, I had a new client who, the challenge for me is I'm there for everybody else. She's a television writer. You know, she went to Yale. She said, I've done all of the things that I was supposed to do, and it looks great on the outside. She said, but when it comes to me being in the front, I have a real problem. And I compare myself to the singer and to the, you know, like compare and despair. She compares herself to the others who in her mind, she's not that because she didn't get there. She's so powerful. She showed me her art today. It's amazing. Well, I can have my voice when I'm there for others. I can have my voice when it's proper and appropriate and will get me A, B, C, D in a way that I could be in control. Yet I know between me and me that I'm dying inside. And when it comes to me moving forward, I know I have to embrace another paradigm and I need help. But it's scary for me to ask for help because that's seen as weak. And I may fall apart and lose control. In
the old paradigm, right? That's the perception of the whole masculine thing is weakness, or vulnerability is actually perceived as weakness. Seeking collaboration and community is perceived as weakness. Bringing your voice when you're saying something like, you know what, I don't actually know how to do that. I need to seek input and help for that thing for it to actually flourish is seen as weakness. And yet, as we know through the feminine power and the feminine paradigms, all of those things are the strength of the feminine, and that we actually thrive and flourish through co-creation and collaboration. And I would say in the light of your work, through the combined voice of women.
Wow, I love speaking to you, Candice, because you're so conscious of this. You know, I couldn't have said it better. It's exactly that it's a measure of our power. It's a true leader who knows her vulnerability and who's willing to reach out and ask for support, and that vulnerability is actually a sign of power and of greatness and of courage, not a sign of weakness.
I just wanted to actually re-reference, if we could, the birthing metaphor, actually, Eliana, because it occurred to me when you spoke of the doula, that when that edge was hit and the woman's experience was, I'm the most out of control, I'm the most in my fear, I'm the most in the unknowing of what's going on, terrified of what will or won't happen, that what she was passing was when we, despite our fear and despite our uncertainty and despite feeling totally out of control, we bring the voice, that actually that's when things move, and that's when she knew that things would actually happen in terms of the birth. But if the women gripped on to their old paradigms of I need to stay in control and I need to be doing this thing, and of course the birth is doing itself without her input at that point.
Yeah, but who needs God when I'm running the show? Eh?
I think the thing that occurred to me was it's happening anyway, and that's when it's the point of the greatest courage, actually. We speak up when we feel the most fear. That is not the time to hide. That is not the time to lose your voice. It's not the time to think that vulnerability is weakness, but to actually have the courage to bring vulnerability forward and say, I am afraid. I do feel out of control, but you're still hearing my voice. And I'm sure you've done that a million times in your life. I know I do.
Absolutely. And I'd actually add something else that behind that's so important. And then at the foundation of that is that when all hell breaks loose, that our tendency is to want to fix it and go do something or go speak, when connecting to our feminine power and to the source of our voice is actually doing less, where less is more and slow is fast. And it brings to mind...
I always talk about slowing down to speed up.
If you think about it, our voice and sound is the first manifestation from energy, from the atoms, from the ethers to...
In the beginning was the word.
Exactly, yeah, and in Hebrew, that's Vayomar Vihi Or. I can't... When I'm translating it, it's already English. That's cognitive. That's an intellectual language. The Hebrew of, and then there was the word, is there's a vibratory rate of the actual word in Hebrew. And Hebrew is a feminine language. It's written from right to left. The ancient languages were when we were still operating from the matriarchal worldview and dominantly working with that hemisphere of our brain.
And is some of what you're speaking to now, is some of this in Miriam's Secret? Just so the audience can see what the book is parlaying about this, because there's obviously so much that we could talk to you about today, but we just want to get a sense of it so that we can encourage people to connect with you and connect with your beautiful book.
If I ask that, in an audience of, it could be 30 people, it could be 3,000. It doesn't matter how many people. Generally if I say how many people know who the prophetess Miriam is, then maybe 5-10% of the people will raise their hand. And then I say, who has heard of Moses? And 80-90% of the people raise their hand, depending upon where I am in the world. And it's so amazing to me because the prophetess Miriam is Moses' older sister. And the prophetess Miriam is the one who prophesied his birth. In fact, if you have heard of biblical stories, there's the tale that the Pharaoh decreed the murder of the firstborn Hebrew babies, and their father, Amram, was head of the Sanhedrin, which was the whole community, and he said, well, he's not gonna kill our firstborn. I'm just gonna divorce my wife, and the rest of the community will follow my lead, and there won't be any babies to kill. And Miriam comes to him and she said, Father, your decree is worse than Pharaoh's because he decreed the murder of the firstborn males, and you are decreeing the entire decimation of your people. So listen to me, and listen to me good. You take your wife back, your entire people will follow. And then you will have another child. It will be a son, and it will be he who will lead our people and humanity into the next phase. And the father listened to her.
No, that's beautiful.
And
beautiful
so,
story.
And so it was. Now,
and that was a turning to the feminine, right? He actually had to receive the feminine to actually write things.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like Miriam's secret is that we are our own leader. And what I find astounding about her is that we don't hear of her or see her. And that is a testament to her power. Because if she were really leading what she was, she would have seen, and she was a prophetess, so she would see where we're going. She would have seen what we were going towards. And through her brilliant leadership, she led from the side. Feminine power doesn't need to assert itself. It doesn't need to promote itself. Look at me, look at my ratings.
Or necessarily be up front and center.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's more influential, sideways.
And letting other
river.
Yeah.
Flow of the river.
Not pushing the river and allowing others to have their voice.
Yes.
That it's not the leader and the follower. Because that's what we went away from then and went towards the masculine paradigm. And now we're coming to the end of that short period, and the feminine energy is coming back.
It's required. It's being asked back by the planet,
Yeah, well, I was at a pinnacle of my career giving a TED Talk. and I'm a former CBS broadcaster, so I'm very used to recording and to presenting, and I train leaders to have confidence and calm while they're presenting. So here I am in my TED Talk, and I black out.
Oh, yeah, you're being recorded. You're in the middle of the recording.
It's live, in the middle, pinnacle of career, total blackout. Like, fuck! Oh my God! For a moment. And then this voice inside goes, well, sweetheart, this would be like a really great time to practice what you teach, wouldn't it? Because I had no idea what to do. I mean, my worst fear, total blackout after 25 years of doing this, a total blackout. And I go, all right. So I just used this ancient feminine use of sound, which actually is in behind the source of the sound is silence. There were no words coming out of what was going on inside. And that worst thing, because of not running from the terror and not trying to fix it, surrendering, connecting to the source of the power, turned that thing into the best thing that could ever have happened during that talk. It ended up the best part of it. And the best part is I have it as a story today that I get to say, you could go look at it, tell me where that was, because nobody can tell. And now I'm just about to give a second TED Talk, and I'm being challenged by the male organizers who are asking me to prove this, prove that, changing the wording.
And I think you're also talking about these paradigms are starting to be broken down. Exactly. And as we bring ourselves in the feminine and we go to an organization that's built on the masculine and go, I don't know what's going to happen when I do the talk, because I don't do it like that anymore.
I know, but you know what's happening, Candice, is it's giving me, I'm expanding because it's enabling me to embody feminine voice, embody feminine power. I don't care what the words are. I really don't. It's beyond cognitive, that power. So what does it matter what words you're using? How do we...
By definition, it's beyond cognitive.
Yeah,
feminine power is voice and embodiment.
It's so cool to be, all right, how am I going to show up? What really is true for me? Where is my power really? Now I know where it was 5 years ago at the last talk. I know where it was 2 weeks ago, at the last presentation. I know where it was last week, in the private immersion with the client who was dealing with this stuff. But here I am today. That's already gone.
Yeah.
This is just, and each time it's something different. And how do you show up in the present moment, fully attuned, aligned, connected with your power, and be true to yourself, but in a way that you are connecting with others in their truth, because there's no right or wrong way, and there's no one truth. And I think that's the power of the feminine, and of going back to the paradigm of the midwife, where all hell is breaking loose, and you don't have control, because none of us are in control today. Come on. And if you think you are, you're lying to yourself.
And Eliana, that is such a perfect point for us to conclude today. I mean, you and I could talk forever on this, and perhaps we need to just circle back around and bring another angle of the topic. But what I really wanted to do here today was to introduce you, this beautiful book, these concepts. In fact, I've got another link that I'm going to put below today, which is going to be the old TED Talk, the new TED Talk, her website, and the link to the book Miriam's Secret, because I want everybody to have easy access to it. It's going to be down in the description box.
What I also would like to offer, if you're watching and you're in a place where you're really ready to connect to your power in that place where you're afraid to let that go, on the website, there's a ancient healing music meditation that was composed and recorded live at an ancient feminine wisdom site in Israel. So you're welcome to download that, and it's very, very powerful. It'll help you to connect you to your feminine center.
What a gift. Thank you so much for offering that. That's beautiful, Eliana. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much for your time and your generosity here today. Such a delight to have you on board.
Well, thank you very much, Candice, and your blessing to the world, and your power shines through, and I really honor your work.
Beautiful.
If you're watching this, then I'm really honoring you, because it takes one to know one.
Ha. Beautiful. And as I always sign out here in the channel, which is when you have the courage to go out there and shine, you give others permission to do the same. So let's all go out there and shine this week.
Yay!
Bye-bye for now.
Right.